Well, hello there, everyone. How you doing today? It's Tuesday, December the 6th in the year 2022. I'm going to talk to you today about side hustles because, we're investors on this channel, and a lot of times we need extra money so we can invest with, especially when you're younger in your career or job, etc., etc., etc. So, before I get started, thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for clicking the thumbs up. And thank you always for commenting or sharing my videos on some social media page. I greatly appreciate it. I think working together, we can help a lot more people learn how to invest. Okay? So with that said, I am Mazske Finance. I am not a CPA. I am not an attorney. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a job counselor either. So anyway, I want to tell you about some side hustles that I have either worked or looked into working over the past number of years. Okay? Here's the first one. This might be obvious to you as a potential side hustle, but it may be something you can't do, you don't want to do, or you haven't even thought about as it being a side hustle. But do you currently work a job where you can work overtime? Because if you do, when you work overtime, you may get time and a half, you may get double time, or whatever it is you get. You get more money than you're currently working. I struggled with this when I was a police officer. My overtime was time and a half. I worked rotating shift work at different times, 12-hour days, 12-hour nights, bouncing back and forth. It was hard. So I used to think, man, I'd love to work a normal job as a part-time job, but it's hard to fit in my schedule. Or even when I became a daylight worker, do I want to give up my short weekends to work a normal job part-time? And that part-time job might pay me a little above minimum wage, but if I worked overtime, it might pay me time and a half or outside assigned pay, which might be double my pay. Okay? So look at what you work at. Can you work overtime or something like that? All right. Can you, moving on with that, but still kind of connected with your job, can you do a side hustle that is a spin-off of the job you currently do? Examples. You're a CPA or an accountant. Could you do taxes on the side? Do you work for a company where you could do taxes on the side and they would allow you to do it? Could you? Could that spin off allow you to grow your own business? Possibly. Okay. Could you, if you're a teacher watching this, you might be saying, I can't really work overtime in my job. Could you be a coach for if you're a school teacher, could you, high school, middle school, high school, could you be a coach on a sports team? It's connected with your job. It will give you some income. Might be something you enjoy doing because you're a teacher, you like working with kids. Might be something you enjoy doing. You can do something like that. If you work in the tech field, can you do a spin-off helping folks with computers? I used to work in technology. I was an electronics technician in the Navy. Could you help people with computers? Could you install home networks? Is there something you could do related to your job but different, a side hustle with your job? Perhaps it's something to look at. Okay, something else. Here's a small business I started a couple years ago. I was retired from my full-time job as a police officer. I was working part-time in a YMCA. And I decided, I got this idea from YouTube, of starting a small business with vending machines. All right, so a vending machine side hustle. So what I did, I started looking around. I started researching it. I then found on Facebook Marketplace somebody in my area that was selling vending machines. It piqued my interest. I contacted them and went by there to look at a machine, and I found this person had a big warehouse with a lot of machines in there. And I got to talking to him because I like talking to people, and I was friendly. He was about my age. We got along, and he told me all about his vending operation. He had, doggy. Oh, what do you have, 100 and some machines spread out? He told me he used to work for a company in vending as like a, whatever you call it. He worked for a big snack company and maintained the vending machines. And he spun off and started his own business with vending machines. And it was his career. He had a warehouse he rented. He had a big box truck. Like he had 2 trucks that he would use to put all his snacks and stuff in, or put machines in the back when he had to move machines around to a new location, because sometimes you might lose location, pick up another location, etc., etc., etc. So I bought one machine from him to start with. It was a combination snack drink machine. And one of my tenants in my triplex owned an oil change business. So I talked to him about putting a machine in his business because there wasn't any there. He loved the idea. It went into the waiting room. Customers used it. Employees used it because most employees, they never packed a lunch, which they don't watch my channel. You pack a lunch to save money. They always bought out, but sometimes they're so busy at work they can't leave. And I end up putting like cups of noodles in there, like put hot water in it and you make a soup, kind of like cups of noodles, or Dinty Moore beef stew or Hormel meals in a box. I had a section for that. I had sodas and drinks and Yoo-Hoos. Somebody there like Yoo-Hoo. I always ask people, what do you like to drink? What snacks do you like? And I would try to, if something was different, I would try to get that snack if possible. And I would see how it would do. I went from that one machine to getting, I think, a total of about 10 different machines. The same guy I bought the first machine from, he was burnt out on the job. He was willing to sell a couple of his locations. So I took over machines at existing locations. I went with him to see how they did, see how, that sort of thing, get an idea of them. They're all in my general area. This number in the city I lived in, they were in the next city over where I retired out of, and in the county. I went to 2 different trucking companies. I went to a junkyard, the oil change business. What was that other bit? Another business. I was in there, had something. But I had 2 machines in several different places. So I got up to, I think it was 10 machines. There's another business. I never figured out exactly what they did there, but I was in there also. That's what it was. So anyway, vending machines are interesting. I found when I had less than 5 machines, it was a pain because I wasn't making a lot, but I had to buy, you want to buy your snacks, you want to get them as cheap as possible. You have Costco and Sam's Club. There were the 2 in my area. I went to Sam's Club. Sam's Club had more snacks, sodas and snacks, that sort of thing. I also found my local supermarkets. I used to have Food Lion, Kroger, and something else was there. I'd get their weekly sales papers, and they would always have sodas. They would rotate having sodas on sale. And when they had them on sale, sometimes you got some really good prices. So I would stock up at Kroger's. I would stock up at Food Lion. I would stock up at whatever the other one was. Because the cheaper you get your snacks for, when you put them in the machine, the price is higher. So you make a profit there. Some items, there were times, because I started this in the fall of 2019. By early 2020, I think I got up to all 10 machines. And then what happened? We had COVID. So COVID, businesses, they shut down. Some businesses stopped letting me come in just for a little bit. And then they let me come in if I had a mask on and rubber gloves. Because the employees wanted their snacks and drinks. So, but what happened was in the majority of my locations, outside customers were limited. So the snack drink business really dropped off because there were no customers and coming in there. Or they weren't allowed to wait inside, so they weren't like hanging out with the machine sitting right there. Because sometimes with machines sitting right there, if families came in with children, how many of you have kids and your kids, oh, mama, daddy, I want this, I want that. And the parent ends up buying it for them because they don't have willpower to say no. That's another subject. All right. So, but with that though, we were kind of coming out of the businesses being shut down, but I was contemplating moving down here, so I ended up selling the business. But the business was picking back up. I could see that business being profitable. However, it's work. It's not passive income. It's work. I used to have to go, I was in a small market. I had to go to the big box stores, Costco's or Sam's Club. I think I got down to every other week I would do it. And I'd have to know what to buy to stock up on. But I don't want certain pastries expire. You got to look at expiration dates on the potato chips, the snacks, pastries, especially pastries. A lot of times they expire sooner. So if they don't sell, they're going to go bad. And if you go bad, what do you do with it? Take it home and eat it? Throw it away? So depends on where you're at. There's always people selling their routes. Why are they doing this? Because they get burnt out on it. That's why. Because it's work. But you can it's the only job I've worked where I was so happy at times to finish my route up and come home, because I was a one-man show. I'd come home and I'd empty my cash bag out and be like a stack of bills and all these coins and quarters and nickels and quarters, nickels, dimes, Occasionally a foreign coin would be in there or pennies be in there, occasionally. But it's like I'd have a big stack of bills sometimes and it'd be $150, $200. And then I started thinking as it went on, I was like, wait a second, why am I so excited about this? Because it's cool to look at. Because, in the wintertime, I have like a flannel shirt jacket on. And I might have cash stuck down here and a big wad of cash, but it's all ones. One machine would accept a 5. So I get the occasional 5 in there, which is kind of cool. But it was like, after a while, I was like, wait a second, my rental property, I get in one swell swoop $800, $1,000, and I'm not working. So that was kind of the driving reason behind it. It's like, let me just give this up. I'm spending a lot more and more hours doing it. And if I just focus on investing, but if you're trying to get money for investing because you're a beginner, it's an option for you. Okay, moving on. I'll try to be quick here. Moving on. I also, when I got here to Florida, drove for DoorDash. While driving for DoorDash, I met Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. I chit-chat with people. I chit-chatted with other fellow DoorDash workers, Uber drivers, Uber Eats, Lyft drivers, etc., etc., etc. Pros and cons to this. You got to have your own car. You got to pay for gas. Backing up to vending machines real quick. You got to have a little cash to get started. You got to buy your snacks up front. You got to have a car. You got to have gas. You got to have the time to do it. And you got to have the locations to put the machines in. The machines cost money. Okay? DoorDash, you got to have your car. You got to have your gas. But they're flexible, at least when I did it in my area. You work when you want to. And as you do it, you learn. They give you job assignments based on where you're located because your GPS is turned on your phone. More times than not. But what it may be is you may have a restaurant close to you, but then as you learn the area, because I learned the area by doing this, because I didn't know this area, I might have a delivery that was 10 miles out or 6 miles out. And 6 miles where I came from, piece of cake. Here, 6 miles with red lights and this and that, it might be a 30-minute drive. And that's 30 minutes you're driving, not getting anything. And as I found out with DoorDash, you can make some good money sometimes. But other times, you busy, you take an order, and maybe it's, I'll give you a personal thing. Applebee's normally was an okay type delivery business. I had 2 orders simultaneously at Applebee's, and I delivered them both. 0 tips on both, and that crushes you because if you don't get a tip, DoorDash is only paying you like $1.25 a delivery, $1.50, $1.75, $2.25. Not a lot, okay? So you learn which deliveries on as a whole pay better. My area, what I found paid the best for tips was Hooters. Folks who order from Hooters, the big chicken wings, big bags, I get $10 tips, $20 tips. It was much better. Walmart was the worst. Walmart has delivery because Walmart, we spend sometimes 30, 45 minutes there waiting on the Walmart employees, and the people ordering it a lot of times, 0 tip, $1. And it's like if you spend an hour altogether and you get $1.50 from DoorDash and $1 tip, and you're in your personal car driving it with gas, you learn to avoid Walmart or to turn them down if you get them. So you learn from it. Can you make money? Sure. With both Vending and DoorDash and with Uber, there are folks who are successful that have YouTube channels, but if you really think about it, they might be successful, but they're making their money from YouTube. Those guys get 1 million views. They're making their money from YouTube, and that driving for DoorDash or doing that vending machine, that's chicken scratch to them. They're making the money from the videos. They're entertainers. They're making it from the videos. Uber's very similar to DoorDash. You got to have your car. You got to have insurance on it. You got to maintain your car because now you're putting people into your car. So if you drive a car like me, it's a 2009 Toyota Camry. I don't think DoorDash would accept that. It's too old. Okay, so I'd have to buy a newer car. I mean, Uber wouldn't accept that for me to carry passengers in it. DoorDash doesn't care, I don't think, what I drive as long as I can drive. Okay? Final thing, I'm going to wrap this up. 2 final things are all kind of similar. One is rent a room in your house. Wherever you live at, can you rent a spare bedroom? Can you rent 2 bedrooms? Can you do like Helicopter Pilot Caleb did? He's been on my channel. He rented sometimes his entire house except for his master bedroom and bathroom, and he slept on a buddy's couch and gave that buddy, I don't know, $15 or $25. But he was making more money because now he's renting basically his entire house. Can you do that? And the final one I'll talk about, and this could be a side hustle. Okay, look at it this way. If you live in your chateau, if you live in your mansion, you pay a lot of money for your mortgage. Think about selling it and buying a duplex, triplex, or quadplex and house hack. Is that a side hustle or is that building your real estate portfolio? It's both. But if you're living in that nice house and you got a side hustle to help you pay for it and to maybe save a couple dollars for investing, why don't you sell the house, buy a duplex, triplex, or quadplex, and house hack? And maybe and still side hustle if you want, but build your real estate portfolio. All right. So that being said, have a great day. Mazke's signing out.